Now that you understand what goes into an error budget policy, let's take a look at one. Here's a very condensed set of SLO policy thresholds taken from a real SRE team at Google. It demonstrates one of the main concepts we covered in the previous lesson, that consequences, especially the more serious ones, are explicitly tied to the service having burned a significant amount of error budget. Take a moment to read the various thresholds. Feel free to pause the video if you need to. Do you notice how the prescribed actions become less tactical and more strategic as the impact grows? The first threshold commits the SRE team to maintain SLO-based alerting for their supported services. In our real-life team, there were 2 page-level alert thresholds, one for 9 hours of error budget burn in 1 hour, which is a 9x burn rate, and the other for 36 hours error budget burn in 12 hours, which is a 3x burn rate. Additionally, a bug would be automatically created if 1 week of error budget was burned in under a week, which is anything greater than a 1x burn rate. Any of these events occurring moves the SRE team past threshold 1 and commits them to making an attempt to resolve the problem. The second threshold is a little more vague. The full policy specifies that SRE should wait no longer than a week before deciding to escalate to threshold 2, but gives them flexibility to do so earlier should they deem it necessary. The implication here is that SRE have exhausted their normal avenues of investigation, and the root cause requires the assistance of people intimately familiar with the service's code and behavior to diagnose and fix it. The development team commits to providing a reasonable level of assistance when escalated to. They have their own on-call rotation, and the on-call is diverted from their project work to help debug and fix the problem. Now let's take a look at the third threshold. This is where the consequences start to affect feature releases. If the root cause hasn't been found and fixed, and the 30-day error budget has been burned, no new code other than the mitigation or fixes makes its way into production. The development team commits to providing more support for isolating the root cause and making code changes to fix it. These code changes are bundled up into a single weekly hotfix patch on top of the release that is currently live, rather than cutting a new release from the development branch. Reaching the final threshold ought to be vanishingly rare. At this point, we can assume that the dev and SRE relationship has already broken down in some way, or the service is so unreliable that extreme measures are needed. These measures usually entail getting executive approval to drop all feature work for the next 90 days to focus the entire development team on improving service reliability. It can be useful in many organizations for the more serious consequences to have a wide impact across multiple teams or services. For example, suppose you have a number of different teams developing microservices in support of a website with a single user interface and a few common user journeys. Now suppose one of the headline SLOs for the entire site is missed over a 28-day window. The error budget policy could enforce a block in releases for all microservices across all these teams, rather than just the services responsible for the unreliable user journey. This shared fate can encourage everyone to pitch in to improve reliability, and makes explicit the ideal that it is the user experience that matters.